Yes, thank you.
So the thing is, how do we go about it? I'll
Okay.
like introduce you first
Okay.
and hand over the stage to you. Then, would you like to share your journey and then choose the presentation? How would you want to go about it?
Along with the presentation, I will share my journey, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So it'll be
So,
like 40, 45 minutes, and then we'll
uh,
take up.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I guess I'll be finished by 30 to 40 minutes, ma'am. Most
done.
probably.
Then we'll take up a few questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, ma'am.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Swastik, whenever you're ready, we'll
Okay,
start.
so now I'll not share the slides.
Yeah, I'll first introduce you, then you can share
Okay,
the slide.
okay, one.
Ash, please let me know whenever we go live.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are live actually, so we can start right now.
Good morning, everyone. The first episode of Founders Spotlight. Today, we are elated to have amongst us Swasthik Padma, a young innovator, interdisciplinary researcher, finding sustainable solutions to global problems. At a mere age of 7, when people, at least like me, were playing with toys, Swastik was uh, finding solutions to plastic waste, understanding the global problems. From there to a star named after him by MIT and awarded by our Honorable President of India, Swastik has been an inspiration to many. We are extremely proud to have Swastik on board at SASTRA. We welcome you, Swastik. Thanks for accepting our invitation. With I would not like to take any more of your time. I know everyone who has joined here is looking forward to relive the journey that Swastik has undertaken from a small town in Bangalore to here now with Lascrete. And we know he's going to go a long way and make India proud. So over to you, Swastik.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, ma'am. Namaste, hello everyone. Just give me a second. I'll share the presentation and then we'll start with the session. I also hope everyone is doing good and well in these difficult times. So, as ma'am introduced, I'm Swastik. I'm the innovator of Plascrete and currently founder of Trash Trap. So, just to start with, like, who am I? And just to give an introduction, brief introduction about me, what I did, and how my journey is started, and how it's going now. So, basically, I'm an innovator, interdisciplinary researcher, and a budding entrepreneur. I would call so because I just started this new journey now. So then I have worked in various global problems like plastic waste management, protein energy malnutrition, and oral cancer diagnosis, and soil health monitoring, etc. And currently, I'm also being incubated at SASTRA, here at SASTRA for my innovation Plascrete to scale it up to the higher levels. And currently, I'm also pursuing my Bachelor's of Engineering in Electronics and Communication from Vivekananda College of Engineering and Technology, Puttur. And yeah, as ma'am earlier told, I started my journey as a kid. So as a kid, even I too used to play with the toys. I started my journey with the toys, but my greater interest was breaking them and building something out of it and making something like to meet my imagination and then play with it. So that's how my journey started, like build break. So that was the process involved. And then when I was in sixth standard, I eventually innovation and science project. So basically I'm from an agriculture
Clear.
family.
Coming clear. Audio.
Hello, am I
I would
audible?
request, yes, yes, Swastik, you're audible. I would request the host to kindly mute your mic, please.
Sorry.
Bye.
Swastik, you're perfectly you're audible.
Okay,
I would request
okay,
the host to please mute the mic so there is
okay,
no background noise.
okay.
You can start, Swastik.
Thank you. So then I started with the agricultural, project. So basically, to do any innovation, I believe that problem is the key. So in agriculture, we face a lot of problems currently. So then I started with solving problems at our own farm. So that's how I started doing, innovations. So then, then I started, I developed Plascrete when I was in ninth standard in back in 2015. So today I'm going to share what I learned from my almost a decade of journey with innovation and research. So and to just give an insights on how to do innovations and what are the key parameters and what is innovation basically. So uh, let's proceed with that. And first I'd like to share a small detail about Plascrete, what I developed. So Plascrete is basically, I named it after plastic concrete, and it's actually a high strength material, composite material developed from non-recyclable plastic. So which is chips packet, chocolate wrappers, and those kind of plastic and construction waste. So basically, I'd like to show the sample of plastic. So this is one small sample of plastic, and I have to uh, the whether the sample is visible now. So this is a
Yes.
plastic what I developed. So, plastic is basically 24 times stronger than concrete, 4 times cost effective, 8 times lighter, and more greener than concrete. So, it has various applications starting from, coastal erosion prevention. And I'm from coastal region, Mangalore. And here we have a very big problem of coastal erosion. Every monsoon, 5 to 10 houses being getting washed away by the coast by the sea waves. So coastal erosion prevention, prefabricated housing, landslide prevention structure, irrigation canals, and many more. So uh, then one of the other innovation I did for which I won the MIT award was Proteinex. So basically an ultra low cost pre-symptomatic paper diagnostic tool for the detection of protein energy malnutrition. So I'd like to show you the strips. So this is the paper strip that I developed, which can detect protein deficiency in children as well as oral cancer with just you know 2 rupees. So based on the saliva, it's a completely non-invasive tool for the diagnosis of protein energy malnutrition as well as oral cancer. So I'd like to share concept of innovation, how to do innovation with the my these two experiences, and how we can all be a part of this innovation, because innovation is the very requirement of our nation right now, because we have a lot of problems which we can solve instead of just complaining. So then let's start with. So first of all, innovation, what is it to start with? So basically there are very, few myths and misconceptions that I would like to break before, we can further. And, before starting, I'd like to say one thing, because all these points are based on the journey that this may not apply to anyone, but, this journey can help you to save few, breaks. So basically, the journey is all about build and break, right? So basically, I'm trying to do is prevent you from breaking the things. So to start with, the one of the common misconception is innovation is equal to invention. Invention and innovation are both the same. So basically, it's wrong actually. So both are different. So actually, innovation is invention times application. So basically, to explain, invention is nothing but creating something new, the process of creating something new. So innovation is the process of creating something new that can solve some real world problem, or that can used by the people, or something meaningful. So that's the key difference between that. And one of the other common misconception is innovation is science and technology. So when I say the word innovation, first thing comes to our mind is robots, satellites, artificial intelligence, and those concepts. So basically, there's a misconception that to do innovation, you should be good at science, you should be good at technology. So that's not true. And of course, science and technology can help to do innovation. You can do innovation in science and technology, but innovation is universal. So there is no barriers for innovation that only in science and technology, only in chemistry, only in physics. So innovation is universal and interdisciplinary in nature. So that's the second point. And then why innovation? So basically, since we are speaking about startups and entrepreneurship, so innovation is that key ingredient which separates common businesses and startup, and businessman or businesswoman from the entrepreneur. So basically, if I take an example of payments, so you pay by cash in a shop, and because of innovation of internet banking, you pay with your phone. So basically, the difference between paying by wallet and paying by mobile app, that is the big difference is innovation. So there is an innovation part there, which makes you pay by the by the phone, or which eases. And now that comes to the second part. You can do innovation or invention, anything. So invention is nothing but creating new things. So you can create anything basically, but an ideal innovation, what is an ideal innovation? So let's take an example like parameters, or concepts on ideal innovation. So ideal innovation, the parameters for ideal innovations are problem solving. One of the first main reason to do innovation is to solve a particular problem that is faced by you, or by the society, or by the global population. So the next thing is ease of use. So when you develop, when you do innovation, it should not, be more complex than the existing solution. It should be easier to use and have some benefits compared to the existing solution, or the traditional solution which is being used. And then the third point is adaptability. So it should be very easier for people to adapt from the traditional system to your innovation. So that it can reach more and more people, and help a lot. So then fourth point is scalability. So how to reach more and more people? So that's where scaling comes in. So you should be able to scale your innovation so that it can be reached by all the spectrum of the society. And then comes the impact. So when I talk about impact, I'm mentioning about the negative impacts as well as positive impacts. It should have very less or no negative impact at all. And the impacts in the sense I'm mentioning here socio-economic impact, and environmental impact, and employment. So what impact you will create to the society? So how much economy you are going to create, how much jobs you are going to create, how much problems you are going to solve, and whether you are going to save the environment or make more destruction to the environment, because that's what happens. So with the innovations, you should be very careful and very conscious that you don't problem other problems while trying to solve a problem. So plastic, if I talk about plastic, in 1930s, plastic was one of the greatest innovation. But over the years, because of the unregulated use and usage, it has become a very big problem right now. So we should be very careful and conscious when developing innovation, so that it should not create another problem in the long run. So types of innovation. So basically, I have divided it based on the journey of a startup, how So innovation will be throughout the journey of a startup or entrepreneurship. So what are the types of innovation? So one thing is product innovation, and second one is process innovation, and third one is business and strategy innovation. So let's talk about product innovation. So the first and foremost is problem identification. So there is a very famous quote: necessity is the mother of all innovation. So when you are doing an innovation, so the first thing is problem identification. So what problem you want to solve. So the second one is problem analysis and selection. So one of the common mistake that everyone do is they just focus on developing a product or developing a solution, but they fail to understand the problem thoroughly. So that should not that's not the ideal case. The first thing is understanding the problems completely. So what are the root causes of the problem? So that comes to the third point. What is the root cause of the problem? How can it be solved in different verticals? So you should be doing a complete analysis of the problem in a different views. So then after finding the root cause for the problem, next you should look for the available solution. What are the different solutions for this root cause or this complete problem? In the problem can be divided into sub problems again. So there are many direct and indirect causes for to cause that problem. So what are the available solutions to tackle that problem? And then comes the idea. So your own or your novel idea, what you want to do, what's your main concept, and then solution. After idea is in a very crude manner, so it's kind of an hypothesis whether it may work or it may not work. Then we need to find it by experimentation, by testing, and it's a research and development cycle, so we need to follow. And then comes the solution. So what is the solution you develop for that particular problem? So then comes the product. Solution is crude manner again goes to through testing and redevelopment. So it's a cycle. So then product is a complete package of different solutions, or like the refined solution. So then comes the in the process innovation. So when you have developed a product, but now you have to scale it or sell it. So then comes the applications of it. What are the possible applications that this product can be used? So you will have other than solving the root problem, what are the other application you can use? So and next you have implementation. So how to implement it? And here comes the two sectors of innovators. One sector is most some of them may not be interested in in startup or commercializing their innovation. So what they do is you can transfer the technology, transfer the intellectual property to some interested organization that will execute your solution, that will execute your idea and sell the product. So you can do that. And if you want to start on your own, that's well and good, and you can continue as a startup, as an entrepreneur. So here comes the transition between innovator and entrepreneur. So entrepreneur is also based on innovation, but this is where the real entrepreneurship process begin. So then comes the scalability. How you gonna scale it to the market, and what are your target customers, and how can you reach them? So that's the scalable part of it. And then comes production. So in all these parameters, there is innovation involved. So you're gonna find new production techniques to enhance the production, to faster the production. So after the production, then here I would like to share my journey of Plascrete, how I developed Plascrete in considering all these points. So the first thing was problem identification. So back in 2015, I was at Bangalore. So after seeing the plastic menace and the problems of plastic, so then I understood that it's a real big problem in the coming years. So plastic waste management will definitely be a problem. So at those times I missed I didn't have this kind of set, so I missed some of the points, and then immediately I jumped into an idea. So I knew plastic was a problem. I did not do the thorough analysis of problem. That's one mistake I did. And considering the circumstances at that time, I feel it's okay. So then I immediately jumped into an idea. So my core idea was to convert the plastics which are lying on the street into pavement blocks which can be put into the street. So that was the core idea. So then the solution was the develop the plasticate, or in those initial days it was used to be called as IPLAC, innovative plastic interlock. So I had only one application in mind, that is pavement blocks. So then the solution was converting plastics into pavement blocks. Then I developed the initial product using plasticate. So there is a bit of a journey which I'll be explaining later. So the innovation or research and development doesn't exactly happen like 10 points I mentioned. So there will be a lot of ups and downs, and it will be a long journey. Then application. So this part I after 2017 I started working on these parts. Application, what are the different application I can give to the material, how can I pitch it in a different way. So my core aim was to save the environment from the plastic menace. So not converting only to plastic. So what are the different directions that I can tackle this problem. So then the implementation, how I gonna implement it. So that was a major decision I took. So I wanted to implement on my own. So there were certain times where there were talks to transfer the technology to some company, and then they can proceed with the commercialization. So then I realized that the to actually benefit, I should be doing that, not some other. So because you are very, when you are the innovator, you will be very conscious. So you will be sticking to your actual goal. So actual goal will be saving the environment. So not only commercialization. So when you are transferring the technology, so your actual goal will be vanished. So then I thought, okay, let's take it up as a challenge, and let me develop it further. So then comes the scalability and production. How are you gonna scale it? I did it in a crude method in my home. So now if I gonna save the environment, I have to use tons of plastic and make tons of plastic. So how I gonna do it in the large scale? So then I started the process innovation. So now I'm almost completed working on that part. So basically, we are developing a carbon negative manufacturing way for plastic. So carbon negative conversion for plastic to plastic, so that it will not further impact the environment. So and specific machineries to manufacture plastic at a large scale. So those are the points comes in the scalability and production. So right now we are in this stage. And in the next part, like I'll come to this again with the protein project. How was my thought process in protein energy malnutrition project? So it was a bit different, so I'll share that also, so you can get a broad angle. So then comes the business and strategy innovation. So I'm no expert in it, so I'm also learning these parts. So I would strongly recommend all of you to refer to the previous startup master classes by eminent personalities who have worked in the startup sector for a very long time. So you can get a broader view on it, because all these are just points which I yet to work. So just I have mentioned key points here. So one thing is business plan. So how you gonna generate revenue? What are your expenses? How are you going to manage it? And what is the investment? What are your risk, profits in the first year? What's your growth phase? And how you gonna actually generate revenue from selling the product? And what are the other revenue streams that you can explore? And how much employees you will keep, and how much salary you will give, all the business aspect of it. And one point I would like to add is one of the key reason for the transition for me from innovator to entrepreneurship was, there were many reasons. One of the reason was I started, in when I was in plus two, plus one, and plus two. So I started to fund the innovation. So I was working in the protein energy malnutrition project that time. So I was it was all self-funded. So I was funding my own research. So to after winning the award, so what I thought was, okay, I have got this much amount, but if I directly invest in the project, so it's not an ideal way. So I thought I'll invest in stock market, or I'll do something to grow that money to certain levels, and then I can invest in the for my project. So that experience of stock market and how is company managed, reading balance sheets, and analyzing the company, picking the company to invest, and those experience actually help me and give my vision. Okay, innovation is not only the thing I can do. I want to start a company. I want to implement it. So that was one of the reason I took this as a challenge, and I want to do it on my own. So that was one of the very big lesson for me from the stock market. So although I did not make much profit out of it, but I learned a lot of things that which is why I'm here right now to start a company. So that was a wonderful experience for me. And then comes the marketing strategy. So how you gonna coming back to the points. Then comes the marketing strategy. What is your exact pitch point? How you gonna sell your product differently from others? What are the customers you gonna target? So basically, Plascrete initially I'll be targeting the customers that who want to save the environment, who are environmentally conscious, so that I can promote it easily. So then I'm gonna jump into the other customers. So the marketing strategy is very important. And then comes the customer acquisition. How are you gonna why customers gonna buy your product, and how you gonna retain them as customers? This applies for all the startups, or all the projects, or all the innovations. So be it in computer science, be it in artificial intelligence, or mobile apps, or machines, or anything. So any products, all these steps will follow. So then comes the commercialization. So you start executing all these points, and you start generating revenue. You manage those funds. You're gonna invest that back into the product, or back into some other R&D. So the commercial aspect of it. So I guess I'll come back to the protein energy malnutrition. So, like, what was my thought process in the developing the protein energy malnutrition? So basically, what happened was I got a chance to represent India in International Science and Engineering Fair. I'm very grateful for that. And in 2017, so with the Plascrete, so I represented Plascrete in ISEF. So although I did not win an award there that year, so I got to meet Professor Manu Prakash. He was the keynote speaker at the event, and he is a professor in bioengineering from Stanford. So he gave a speech on how to revolutionize with paper. So he has developed various diagnostic tools, paper microscope, paper centrifuge, and water computer, and many more frugal innovations using paper. So after hearing the speech, I was inspired to do something out of paper. So that was on my mind. I have to do something out of paper. So I've done something in plastic. So now it's time to switched to paper. I have to do something out of paper. So then after coming back to India, I started doing research. So this time I had an idea, crude idea. So the goal was so I have to do something out of paper. So then, what to do with paper, what problem I can solve. So then I started from the point one. So what problems I can tackle, and while researching the various problems all across the world, I came up with the protein energy malnutrition. So this was a project I worked along with my friend Suhail. So we both later on worked in this project. So then when we analyze the problem, what is the core, what is the root cause, and we came up, we got to know that diagnostics. So most of the children in India and other developing countries, suffer with protein energy malnutrition. But if they are diagnosed very early, so there is a remedy, and they can uh, grow healthier. So that early diagnostic was missing. Although there were some clinical methods that were not scalable for such a large group of people. So then we anyways had the idea of paper. So we wanted to do something out of paper. So then we thought we should do something out of paper to for protein energy malnutrition. That was a very crude idea in the beginning. So then what to do, how to diagnose protein in the blood with the paper. So then we started thinking with various types. So one was the concept was basic concept we all eat. So I was eating chapatis, and the thought came into my mind, how this chapati is digested in my mouth. So basically, we all know that salivary amylase breaks down the starch into maltase and maltose in the mouth. So saliva breaks down whatever food you consume first stage in the mouth. So that was the concept well known. So I thought, okay, saliva can break the starch. So then, chapati is nothing but it has a starch content. So then we came up with the century-old chemical reaction, which is starch iodide complex broken down by the salivary amylase. So now we have a you know technique to measure the salivary change. So then we thought, okay, whether there is any possible way that we can establish relationship between albumin globulin ratio in the blood to that of salivary amylase in the mouth. So we established a ratio. We have a well-known chemical reaction. We have a relation between saliva and protein content in the blood. So with these two, now how to quantify? Okay, the color change, this strip. So you can basically identify the color change, how much color it's changed. So how to identify the exact amount of protein in the blood. So that comes the artificial intelligence or machine learning. So we modeled all this data into an algorithm, so that based on the change in the grayscale value in the paper, we can then know how much amylase reacted with the strip. And since we have already established a relationship between albumin globulin ratio and salivary amylase, then we can predict the albumin globulin ratio in the blood. So that was a solution we developed. So then we developed a minimum viable product, and then after completing the research of this paper, so basically we were able to develop a strip that cost less than 2 rupees, and it can be scalable for thousands or millions of people for the testing to save children's lives. So that was the key innovation which we did. And we again participated in international science and engineering fair. This time we also won a grand award there. Considering our interdisciplinary approach, what we did was combining a century-old chemical reaction with a cutting-edge artificial intelligence or machine learning. So considering that interdisciplinary research and frugal innovation, MIT Lincoln Laboratory has named a minor planet after me. So that's how I got from Puttur to planet. So that was the journey. And So basically, I explain this because you can get a broad view how the thought process, how the innovation thought process works, and how you can get inspiration from nothing but eating. So all you need to is think about it, be conscious about it. So that was the main purpose. And one more thing is critical thinking. So basically, in most of the cases, I hope this image is completely visible. And here what we all do is we saw that's a problem, plastic pollution. So there is a beach full of plastic, and one of the key problem with the plastic is currently it is non it doesn't degrade in seawater. So that's the problem now. And we have another problem, coastal erosion. And the current solution is concrete structures to prevent coastal erosion. And the problem there is concrete corrodes for seawater. So the idea here was there are two problems, and to solve those two problems, plastic is the solution. So you can use this plastic which is otherwise lying around the beaches or in the ocean. You can convert into structures that can prevent coastal erosion, which can be planted across the coast. So this critical thinking mentality is the key for innovation and to research, because whenever we see a problem, we should approach in a very different way. So here the main problem with the plastic became a solution for another problem, which is corrosion of concrete. So sometimes problems can be a solution for some other problem. So we should be thinking in all the directions and all the possible ways. And then so I always believe that 5 C's plays a major role in innovation or entrepreneurship, mainly in innovation. So one thing is creativity. Creativity is the backbone of innovation. So without creative ideas, without creative concepts, you cannot do innovation. So creativity is the backbone of innovation. But I'd like to break into 5 C's. One is creative, and next we have crazy. I'm gonna explain it with the journey of Plascrete again. So then curiosity. Curiosity is very important, and then conscious, and then common sense. So basically, you should be creative. You should come up with creative ideas for problems, and importantly, you should be crazy. Crazy in the sense, positive crazy, not not more crazy. So then there is a fine line between that. So you should be willing to go beyond the out of the box, beyond the line, and break the rules, not the normal rules or traffic rules, but the rules of this innovation or the tradition which is being followed. So you should be willing to do that. You should be extremely enthusiastic about what you're doing. You should be very passionate. That's very important when doing research or when doing innovation. So you should be very passionate about what you're doing. And then curiosity. So when you see something, you should be very curious how it works, and because that might solve your problem. That might be a solution for some other problem. So you should be curious about everything. So what's happening, especially what's happening around you. So you should be very curious about that, how stuff works, how to do something, and that's very important. And then comes the conscious. So when you're doing, you should be very conscious and be ethical about it. So because now what happens is you are just doing something for without no goal, or without actually planning to impact, or without any thing. You just do something for just recognition or things. And next comes the common sense. So the thing is, whenever you see a problem, the most of the people do is, there are two sets of people, and one set of people, they just complain about the problem. They say problem, problem, problem. And the other set of people, they try to find solution and how to in the analytical abilities. So here what happens is most of the people in the other sector, the solution finding people, they always focus on the very complex solutions in a very complex way. So I believe that simplicity is the key. So the solution is not a solution if it doesn't flow like water. So it should be very simple and easy to like as I mentioned earlier, the key parameters for ideal innovation. So common sense is important. So in my plastic journey, this 5 C's were unknowingly. So now I feel that this 5 C's was the key, but at those time unknowingly these 5 C's played an important role. So basically what happened was, after coming up with a creative idea of converting plastic into pavement blocks, I came back to home in Bangalore. I got the idea. After coming back to home, I just started experiment. So I knew only two things about plastic. So one thing was, if you heat plastic, it will melt. If you cool plastic, it will become hard again. So that was because of thanks to my previous projects where I have experimented with the plastics and other things for some other application. So I knew that concept. So I was crazy not to study more about how to, if I did study about that, if I had knew that plastic is non-recyclable, that plastic is not non-recyclable, I would have never tried it probably. So then I was crazy enough to start with the no further no previous experience or any knowledge on those sector. So then comes the curious. So basically what happened was, I was trying to melt the plastic. I took a metal pan, I put the plastic, it will heat, I'll put it to the mold, wooden mold, and I'll get the hard material. So that was the concept. But when I did first time, that's not what happened. So I took plastic bottles. I didn't knew the difference between, to be frank, I didn't knew the difference between plastics. So I took the plastic bottles, heated the plastic bottles, and I poured into the mold. But the material what I got was completely different. It was nothing like pavement blocks, but it was like puppet. So with just a press, it would turn it to powder. So then I tried to analyze what went wrong. I thought temperature might be a problem. I was just using a stove and in an uncontrolled temperature. So then I thought I'll try next time. So another time. So then I took plastic, the same concept, but in a controlled temperature and in a controlled environment. So this time I had a plastic bag. So I put the plastic bag into the pan. It caught fire because of the temperature difference. The melting point of plastic bag is very less. So it caught fire. To extinguish fire, I threw sand. So basically, I was conscious enough to observe that there is something happening. This semi-burnt plastic and the sand are combining together to form a semi-solid mass. So I immediately, since I knew that if I cool it, it will become hard. So I immediately cooled it down, and then after some time, I was trying to break it. So but it did not break. So that was a eureka moment for me. So that's how the plastic journey evolved, and why I'm thankful for this 5 C qualities. So these are my individual experiences, and this may not be applicable for all, but for most of them, I guess it's applicable. And next comes the important point, like I had previously mentioned, why I choose developing on my own. So I firmly believe that innovate, implement, and inspire. So in India, what currently happening is we are producing thousands of patents. So research is happening. We are producing the thousands of research papers. We are, I guess, globally number second or number third position in publishing research paper, and I guess somewhere in 30 or 40 position in the intellectual property index. So we are uh, producing as much as intellectual property we can, but the implementation is missing. So when you develop a solution, it should not be just limited for the paper. We should take a step further and try to implement it. So for me, one of the key movement was I received the award from our honorable president for innovating class kit. But then later, at one point of time, I started looking back. So I received an award for the innovation I did. But what next? What's the future with it? So then I really felt that my real award or the greatest award is when I'll be able to recycle tons or at least kilos of plastic every day, so that I can actually impact the environment. Or when a children's life is saved by our paper strip. So that's the real award or real a day when we'll be truly feeling completed. So then comes the inspire. So you should create a system where there will be more and more people willing to do the kind of innovation or kind of things you did. So because when we talk about all innovation, that all this innovation, so one of the key misconception is most of the people think you need a lot of funding, you need a lot of facilities. If I take my protein energy malnutrition project as an example, so if we had the funding and if we had a very sophisticated lab facilities, I'm not very sure whether we would be able to develop a 2 rupees paper strip. We should be we would be developing something that will cost sophisticated instruments and other equipments that will cost in thousands. So that so that actually helped us to develop in a very frugal manner, in a very low cost manner, so that can be scaled up. So that's one thing. And if more and more people doing in the same sector, then it will definitely impact the goal you are trying to reach. And so that's about 3 eyes. And I guess that's all. I'm open for questions. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Swastik. It has been indeed been a very inspiring session, and it has. I'm sure it has enlightened all the people who have joined here, the young innovators and startups like you who want to embark on a journey like this. And several things that you said. Firstly, I would like to. I'm really inspired by the kind of a lifelong learner that you are, the curiosity that you have for things and problems around you. That all of us need to inculcate in ourselves. Look at problems and try to have a problem solving attitude, be a part
Yes.
of that group of people rather than just cribbing about the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
And as you rightly said, that innovations that stay in the labs, we are innovating, we are doing research, but then
Yeah.
innovation and business are two different things. And we need to bridge that gap, bridge that innovation, the gap, and bring the innovations that can be used by the people and not have any long-term negative impact and create further problems.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Swastik.
Yeah.
Since the day we, yeah, please.
Yes, thank you. Welcome. And if any of us have any queries or related to
Yes.
innovation, related to my projects, you can definitely contact. I guess my email ID is visible in the screen, so you can definitely contact me anytime, and I'll try to do my best to reply to solve your queries. And at the end,
Sorry to interrupt, but we do have a lot of questions that you will have to address just now also.
okay.
So people have been quite excited by the session, and just after we announced the session, we got a lot of questions from our students and several innovators when they saw your previous achievements, and even during the session on YouTube, I can see a lot of questions. So if you're okay with it, we would definitely take up a few questions.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
So the first question, I would like to club 2 or 3 questions that I have here. Is that
Okay.
you said you started very young.
Yeah.
Like when you first identified the problem that there is plastic waste, and you must be of an age when you didn't have access to labs, and as you
Yeah.
said, even the physics strip you developed yourself. So
Yeah.
how did you experiment? Where did you experiment and develop the solutions?
So basically, when I say I started very young, so I started with the problems on my agriculture, on my farm. So I developed that problem-solving attitude here at my house itself. And then, when you don't know anything about lab, you don't know anything about the core research, you don't know there is something like this happening. So that will actually help you to find other ways. So when you know that there is a proper lab facilities, there are various facilities to do research, then you will be always thinking that one day I need to go there, one day I need to do there, and those kind of mentality will be there. When you don't know about all these things, you will the problems will also be very minimal. So I started in a crude setup in the beginning, so in my house itself. Like there is one famous quote by, I guess, by Thomas Alva Edison. So every innovation or discoveries happen in the kitchen. So kitchen backyard kitchen was the lab. So you set up something, you do something, and so that's how I developed it. And in the plastic also, there was no need for such a lot of instruments or technologies to do that. So, and in protein energy malnutrition, we are just trying to do something with the more locally available chemicals, or starch, iodine, and all those kind of things. So I don't believe that you don't need a lab facility. I believe that you don't need lab facilities until you reach some point. So I had to go for a lab after developing the material. For the next 2 3 days, the job for me was to test the material. So whenever the vehicle passes by, I used to stop them and keep the material and ask them to pass it on it and try the whether it will break. So then after interacting with the my cousin who is also mechanical engineering and who is now with me as a co-founder of Trash Trap. So Padma Swarup. So we thought we should be doing some lab tests. So there are compression strength, tensile strength, what are the strength of it. So then I went to the lab. So initially I did not get a lot of support here in Puttur. Then I went to Mangalore for lab testing. And especially I want to thank my school. So I studied here in Vivekananda English Medium School, Puttur. So they were very supportive. So our headmaster, and if I needed any lab testing, he would personally drop me, and he would make all the contacts, and he would support me in this. So everyone was very supportive. In the beginning stage, they will be everyone will not be very supportive. So when you show something in real world, and not just explaining or blabbering something, when you show that you are just actually progressing, you are doing something, then I guess everyone will support you. So you have to approach them in a right way. You have to convince them you are doing something that can help people, that can help the environment. So then I guess everyone will be supportive. So yeah, that's I guess I answered the question.
Yes, thank you so much, Swastik. Yes, schools and they play a very important role, and their
Yeah.
support is extremely important when students want to innovate and develop novel solutions. So,
Yes.
likewise, we have a question that young innovators and entrepreneurs, as you said, it starts with the kitchen, it starts at home. So,
Yeah.
what kind of many a times it happens with that there is a conventional path that they are asked to follow. So, what kind of support or support system did your parents provide, like for young entrepreneurs, so to speak?
So basically, what I believe is the core thing, or the main thing for any innovator or a creative people, is freedom. So that's a very important the thing to do innovation or any creative arts, or any to follow the passion. So basically my parents were very supportive in that way. So they give me that freedom so that I can work in what field I can I am interested, I am passionate about. So I'm an interdisciplinary researcher. For 3 years, I did in plastic waste management. Then I jumped into bio engineering and medical research. So they were very supportive throughout it. So initially, they were worried about the studies. So every parent will worry about how it will
Absolutely, yes.
impact the studies when you are doing it in high school. So, but Actually, this innovation and this research helps me to score better marks in in the school or college. So basically, that's one again misconception amongst students and parents. So if they go into innovation, if they do research, they will fall behind in the academics. So that's actually not true. It's all about how you manage and proper time management and how you do things. But especially in this case with the innovation, you will for me it was like after doing a lot of research on plastic waste, after reading research papers, PhD thesis. So getting back to my textbook was very simple. So I started easily understanding the concept in the textbook, because it was very hard for me to understand in the research papers. So after trying to understand that, this textbook concepts were very simple. So that actually helped me. And innovation or research or any other extracurricular will not have negative effect on studies if they manage it properly, and that will actually help the student in the core. So I request all the parents and all the students to follow their passion, and allow them to follow their passion, because that's going to help them in the future for sure.
Thank you so much, Swastik. We have a question from Mr. Parth Bagasia. So he is asking that since you started with your cousin, you had started this journey. So how important it is to build a strong team? How is the team for a startup, for an entrepreneur, the importance of a team?
In the team, the thing is, in the protein, energy, malnutrition, and now in Trash Trap, I'm working in a team, and I have also done several other projects along with the team. So one of the mistake that we do when selecting a team is we always try to include people with similar mentality. So that's one of the biggest mistake we do. So what we need to do is complementary mindset or complementary skill set. We should include people from different perspectives. So currently what we do is, if the his mindset matches to mine, then we'll work as a team. But what we actually need to do is a complementary mindset or complementary skill set, so that you can cover the whole project or the whole area. So that's very important when selecting a team. I guess that's very important.
There's one question where they're asking, since you have done a lot of innovation and it takes a lot of time, there can be failures.
Yes.
What are the setbacks that you had? How did it further propel your journey? What were
Uh,
your thoughts?
so one major setback I had was both of the projects. So when you are trying to break the barrier or breaking the traditional mindset, there will be very a lot of what I can say, you can't do that, it's impossible, all those discouragements from many people. So one of the key setback in my plastic plastic was after developing the product. I earlier mentioned that I did not receive much support here in Puttur, and then I had to go to Mangalore for testing. So basically, after developing the plastic, I went to a professor and asked him whether he can test the material for the mechanical properties or thermal properties. So basically he asked me what are the compositions. So I said LDP plastic, the low density polyethylene plastic, and sand. So he said it's impossible, I'm not going to test it, because LDP plastic is very non-recyclable and very low grade plastic. So you can't actually make something out of it. You must have mixed rubber, you must have made using rubber or any other material. You are just lying here telling it waste plastic. So that was one of the key setbacks. So when the professor with experienced in that area tells it not possible, so I thought how at those time my only goal was to present in science fair, so participate in science fair, only those. I did not had a broad mentality as I have now. So I thought, okay, if I do the project which the professor tells impossible, then I might not win an award in any of the science fair, because all the technical people will will disagree to my innovation. So then I stopped it for 2-3 months. So again, what happened was, again in media, in news, in paper, this plastic is a problem, plastic waste management. There is no good solution for plastic waste management that comes in flowing. And then I thought, okay, why can't I give another try? So I also felt that, okay, he said impossible, but I have done something. I have something in my hand. So I guess I should really focus on this and achieve that. So then I started, I went to Mangalore, and in NIT Kishore, they tested the material, and I got to know that it is much more stronger than concrete. So then I started it as a research. So there will be a setbacks, and the same thing happened with the protein energy malnutrition too. So when I consulted a professor, so he said there is no established relationship between salivary amylase and blood. So how are you gonna do it? So it's not possible. So there will be a lot of technical hurdles when you are doing something new. So it's obvious. So always I say one thing, like discouragement is just like compost. So basically it will definitely smell bad, but it is very essential for your growth. So take it in a positive way. So that's one thing I would like to say. I hope I have answered it.
Thank you so much, Swastik. We have a lot more questions, but looking at the time constraint, as Swastik has already shared his email ID, and could probably curate the questions and send it across, and it to Swastik. As said, simplicity, if the problem doesn't, if the solution does not flow like water and it cannot be simply explained, then
Yeah.
that solution is not good enough.
Yes.
And every problem, every discouragement is like compost. So thank you so much, Swastik, for enlightening all the people who have joined here. And I'm sure the young innovators and startups have learned a lot from here. And how to innovate, how to take it to the market, how to deal with problems, to be curious, to be conscious, to be creative, and to be a little crazy in the right way. Thank you so much, Swastik, for giving us
Welcome,
time.
ma'am, and thank you very much, Sastra, for supporting me with my journey. And I also thanks Sastra for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the participants, and thank you, ma'am. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Uh, Ma'am, I'll exit.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, Swastik.
Thank you.